It was the last September that I had an accident. At the time, the police told my parents that my condition was very dangerous. And my parents, of course, they ran to the hospital and almost passed out when they saw me. For your information, I was unconscious at the time of the car accident, and I still don't remember how it exactly happened. However, there was one thing I remembered. It was that I couldn't breathe at all. Do you know what it feels like to be breathless? Well, I think this is the most similar explanation. First, breathe in as hard as you can. Hold it in for about 3 seconds, and then breathe in again instead of exhaling. Repeat it over and over until you really feel like you're going to die. Is this how I'm going to die? I had some friends who think about death so easily, but when death got closer to me, it was really scary. As things turned out that my face was so swollen that I couldn't open my eyes. Even my mom didn't recognize me at first. Anyway, I lost my memory when I was in an accident. But when I woke up in a very short time, I was so scared thinking that I was going to die. I just peed on my pants, struggling with my feet, and finally passed out again. Some people ask me if I dreamed of a dream or if I noticed the time passed while I was unconscious. But my answer is no. When I regained consciousness, I was already in hospital. You know what's really scary? Everybody knows that I was unconscious for 3 weeks in the ICU. But in fact, my consciousness has been back since a week later. But nobody knew. Family, nurses, and even Doc. They didn't know at all. I couldn't move my eyelids or a finger at all. Though I was conscious, I was unable to move my body, only hearing sounds with my ears. At first, I really thought I was dead because my consciousness came back very slowly. Is it heaven or a dream? I thought so, but later I realized when I heard my mother's voice when she came to see me during visiting hours. Okay, I'm in the hospital now. I had an accident. It was just like a hell. I wanted to let them know that my consciousness had returned, but literally, there was no other way that I could do. The nurses stopped by my room 3 times a day. They opened my eyes and lit up my eyes with a flashlight to see the pupil reaction. I wanted to roll my eyes and let them know that I woke up, but stupidly, my eyes just looked at the light. Couldn't do anything. I didn't even know how the days went by. I had nothing to do all day, so I just went sleep and kept waking up or being lost in wild fancies every day, which was terribly boring. If I think it's been 3 or 4 days or so, it's only been a day. Well, visiting hours were normally twice in a day, so I could confirm that the day had passed by watching my parents come and go. After that, I began to worry about my physical condition. Are both my arms and legs attached well? Is my spine okay? Dang, I realized that I had signed to donate my organs after my death about a few years ago. What if my parents agreed to donate my body, although I'm alive? I felt like I was going to have a mental illness even after I completely woke up. Furthermore, I could feel the enormous pain in my body. The most painful thing was when they drilled a hole in my throat, and the doctor also said that there was a problem with the tube in my side, that I had to rearrange it. But I was judged by the doc that I was unconscious at that time. So everything proceeded without any anesthesia. But later on, when my consciousness was restored, I realized that the intensity of the pain at that time was less than 1/10 of the actual pain. During the coma, it didn't hurt at all when they wrapped my wound. But later, I woke up. It felt like I was going to die. As you see, when you visit the ICU, you can see that the patient's condition is all clean. The nurses usually take care of everything before visiting hours in the morning. Literally, everything. That made me respect the nurses. One day, the nurses put something in a container and then injected it in my nose through the tubes. Actually, I wasn't hungry at all until then, but as soon as the food was injected into my nose, I suddenly felt hungry. I must not feel the taste because it was put in my nose, but actually, it was really delicious, and I could feel the way the food went down vividly. And that thing stops just below the chest, and it feels like something warm liquid is wrapping the area. I really loved that feeling. But not long after, they sucked the food back with something like a syringe to see how much I had digested. I felt like my whole intestines were sucking up, and it really sucks. But once the food had been injected inside my body, I was excited whenever I heard the nurse shaking the can every time, because I wanted to eat it as soon as quickly. It's been about 2 weeks, and one day the doctor came in and said, "Let's wake me up." After some kind of drug was dosed, I thought I opened my eyes right after, but the doc said that I opened my eyes about an hour later. But nevertheless, the nurses were still all surprised, because no one usually wakes up in an hour. Of course, there wasn't much I could do after I opened my eyes. I was still put on a respirator and both my arms and legs were all tied up. I just kept my eyes open, moved a finger to right, talking a little bit. Just like that, I'd been given muscle relaxants for 3 weeks, and it seemed to have taken almost a month to walk again. Not only my arms and legs, but also my internal muscles were too relaxed. So it was the worst when I first went to the bathroom because I couldn't squeeze my butt at all. After a few weeks, I was able to leave the hospital. While lying down for a few weeks, I heard the nurses often gossiping about each other. So I just told my family about the fact that I was conscious. You don't want to embarrass each other, right? Well, whenever I lie on my bed before going to sleep, I keep thinking of that time. What if I can't breathe again while sleeping like this? Unfortunately, I can't sleep well since then, being scared of it. Imagine not being able to move a finger or your whole body at all, like my situation. You can't talk, and even you can't let the people know that you're awake. You know, hearing friends and family sob while you're lying down is much more miserable and just terrible than you thought. What most scary thing is that everyone doesn't know that you're conscious, but you are. Actually, this story isn't that great, but it's sure that this is something no one can experience easily. So I hope you guys are always careful and careful.